So I haven't been posting about it a lot, but I have been studying abroad and it has been amazing. And a big part of my goals while I've been abroad has been to get yarn. So one of the places I went was actually Peru, which I don't know if people are familiar, but it is like one of the animal fibers capitals of the world. Like if you think alpaca, like everything you're gonna see is gonna be imported from Peru or made with alpaca fiber from Peru. They have a bunch of wool, they have a bunch of stuff in general, and I just think it's really cool to be able to go there and pick it and, um, really just to be able to buy it from the people who make it instead of from companies that, like I get why they do it. Like it's a lot of money to be able to ship it and to do things like that. But like for me, like I got to meet a local yarn store and they're willing to ship things to me directly if I pay the cost, which is just like amazing because this is just like a lady and her mom who manage all the yarn for Cusco, which is actually like the major city that used to be the capital of the Incan Empire, right near Machu Picchu, which is one of the seven wonders of the world I got to go see. And so, you know, um, it's just it was amazing. She was incredible and it really just helped me kind of like bond with who the people were. So while I was there, I'm going to start with what I got in the Peru yarn store. Is okay, I really just went and got a bunch of alpaca, and she had just a cute little bag from when her store was put together. So I got a lot of yarn, but I mainly just got this cute double knit alpaca, and I got it in quite a few colors as a like more edited video, but for right now I'm just kind of like I kind of want to just show off my yarn. I'm very proud of it. I'm very happy because I picked out the store online and it was just a really incredible experience, and I'm very glad I was able to support her. And so for all of these except for one, and I'll show you which one, I got four of them. So I have this one, and you can just see how soft it is, and it's actually baby alpaca, which I just think I just and it's ethical. I asked, and what's nice about this is that also in Peru they just don't have the same agricultural practices we do. So they just like you can get baby alpaca fur or not baby alpaca fur, baby alpaca wool, and it's just like they just have the alpaca, they shear the alpaca, they raise the alpaca, you know, they just take care of the alpaca and then you get alpaca wool, and it's pretty cool to just have that without being like, what did that alpaca go through? Like they just have alpacas. Like when we were in Machu Picchu, there were just the llamas there. Like they were ear clipped to show that, like, for monitoring and whatnot. But like there were just alpacas. And like or not alpacas, llamas. And I was kind of afraid because they had a lamb, I don't know if that's the right word for it, there. And so that kind of scared me because I was like, we're around some llamas that have a lamb, right? So you don't want to be messing with big scary creatures that have their younglings. And I don't know if you guys know this about llamas, but they can spit, and they spit as like a defense mechanism, and it can go like 30 feet. And they are like sniper precision with how they spit, okay? So like all my classmates were like, "Oh my gosh, it's a llama." And I'm like cautiously like standing behind the tallest person in the group. I was like so happy to see the llamas. But anyway, so I got all of these colors in four, and let me put them in the order because I was thinking about making this shawl type thing with them, and so I was thinking of doing it like this, and I can just talk about this stuff for hours. So I was thinking I'm gonna be saving this for when I do weaving because I think it would be really fun to kind of have alpaca and to have that fluffiness while I'm weaving, and I'd want to um, try it out. I was thinking about doing some rainbow type work since I got the yarn for it and I finally got a floor loom. So I was gonna try and save this for that, but who knows? I may end up using it for crochet. But I was thinking is I've been posting about these like dragon scale shawls is what like the pattern maker calls them, and I like to call them that too. But it's like using crocodile stitch in this shawl pattern. But I got these and I was thinking about just doing a shawl from like top to bottom because this is a 250 grams total, like 50 each. So you could do like an area of gray, an area of this olive, an area of this green, an area of this blue, and an area of this purple. And I might make one of those because honestly, the bottom two, or these two yarns are for my mom. Um, so I got those for my mom, and I don't want to be using all the yarn I got for her. But if I run out before I get back to the US, she is going to let me, and it's going to be great. So that is actually all I got from Peru because I did have a budget on up until I got to a yarn store here in Spain yesterday. I was sticking to it really well. And then I got here, and I won't delve into it too much, but I've had some really significant personal issues, and that kind of really showed in my spending decisions. So firstly, I mainly used clover hooks, and this time I actually got one of the tulip hooks from Japan. I just in general like a lot of the Japanese crochet hooks. I like Japanese stationery. I like Japanese crochet hooks. It's just really good stuff to me. And I also, on that note, from Japan, I got some yarn that is from a Japanese company. It is 100% wool, and I am really looking forward to working with it. It kind of caught my eye because I learned Japanese, and while you're looking at it, like, it's really hard to tell the difference between Mandarin and Japanese looking at it because a lot of Japanese, it's called the kanji writing system, is actually directly Mandarin characters, and then they have their own one, which is called hiragana, and this one is a member of that. And it's actually derived from Mandarin characters. So I thought that was interesting because I saw this and knew it was Japanese because of this character. Otherwise, I couldn't differentiate it. I just thought that was cool. But it's 100% wool, and you can kind of like see on the back. It's going to be fun to try and see what I can do because it's partially in Japanese. But these are 200 grams each. And I just am loving this color scheme. Like, I'm going to stack all of them together and put it on the back so you guys can kind of like really see the label on that one. Color scheme is just going to be great. And it is 100% wool. And I cannot get over how soft this is. Like, it's a really dense cake, and like, it's not as squishy as I might see from like a lighter spun fiber, but this stuff is like unbelievably dense and soft. And I think it's going to be incredibly warm. And I think with this color scheme, like this almost like warm bronze color scheme, I'm just imagining this as like a wrap or something of some kind, and like having that while I like sip hot cocoa in the winter, and I'm just kind of like curled up, living my best life. And then I got from what seems like this really, really small scale dye studio here, and these are called Medusa, and like it's small enough like they don't have lot numbers. Like, this is just a series they did, and for me that's pretty new. I'm not used to buying that kind of like small scale of yarn, but like I'm just gonna unravel the hank a little bit. Like, look at that, that is gonna be an absolute joy to work with. I am very pumped about that. I'm hoping my mom doesn't see this because I was actually, she's a little bit sensitive to wool, but I was going to see if she could handle because this is superwash, and she said she's had good luck with superwash in the past. And so I was kind of like wondering, like, would she be able to handle this? And so I actually got it with her in mind. Even if she can't have it, I think she would still really like to see something made with it. But, she's hoping that it's something that she can enjoy, that I can make for her, and that she can enjoy herself because, I really like believe it or not, I really love my mom. And one that's nice about having the ability to like make things by hand is that I can make things for her. And especially with what's been going on for me, she's just been amazingly supportive. But yeah, these are called Medusa, and the studio is, it's from the Rio series from Malabrigo, and I'll be like, probably like, I'll try and find all these yarns online and post them just because I'm curious. I'm sure people are kind of curious. And then the rest of the ones I got are from the Lang Yarns Cloud series, and it is another merino superwash. So I got 6 of these in 3 different colors. I got 2 of each. I just think they're super puffy and fun to look at. They're definitely the most like outright squishable of the yarns I got. So my favorite color scheme for me has probably got to be this one, and you can just see like how puffy. Like this is gonna be the one I work with over the next few days. I think like I need something puffy in my life right now. So I know I just like this color scheme. It's definitely my kind of vibe. But I also got this super like fruity, I think is the right word for it. It's like My Little Pony vibes all the way, and I like live for that. I think I don't work with that color scheme enough, and it'll be interesting to see like what pattern or maybe I think I'll have a pattern for it just because these are nicer yarns and I don't want to like freehand for the first time, especially when I'm not super used to working with wool. And then I don't know if you guys have seen, but I've kind of been going ham on like dragon shawl patterns lately, or like crocodile stitch patterns. And I was thinking this would be like gorgeous in that form. And again, it's like so squishy. I think it'll just be like super dense and warm. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think it'll be a lot of fun to work with. Like that's the one I was planning on doing on the way home, since I don't need to worry about learning a new pattern, nothing like that. And then this store was actually really awesome, and they threw in 2 little gifts for me. This is for like keychains and whatnot. It says Crochet Queen on it. I just thought it was really cute. They just were like, oh my gosh, you're coming all the way from the US. They were just super, super kind about it. And then my mom does knitting a lot, and she's been getting into other patterns, and I was kind of like talking about that because she normally just does garter stitch, and they have these little itty bitty sheep stitch markers of their mascot, and I was losing it. It is so cute, y'all. And I also was like, I asked like, hey, could I have a little one, a small one of your bags for if I want to give gifts and stuff, and they like I'm gonna like turn it around for this part because I want you guys to be able to like, read the place. But yeah, so there's these little itty bitty, yeah, let me grab the stitch markers again. There's these little tiny little sheep stitch markers. Like they're so cute, y'all. Like I don't think you can get cuter than that. My camera is not very clean. I'm gonna wipe that off real quick. And then, yeah, this is called La Oveja Lola. And yeah, no, my camera is just not wanting to focus very well. But you can kind of see, and they just gave me this cute little bag. And then I have the big bag as well, which I'm 100% bringing home. But I just thought it was super fun to have that kind of thing while while I'm getting home. I thought it would be really cute to just have the bag for gifts and whatnot. So that's all the actual yarn. But what I was thinking of doing is just like, while I'm taking the time and whatnot to be online anyway, it's like, it is 5:40 here, which is still like siesta time in Spain. And I know like at home, it's like, I'm going to do a bit of girl math here. I cannot promise accuracy. It's going to be around like 10 a.m., 10 something. So, I know the world's still waking up a bit as far as the US people go. Obviously not the world, considering I'm in Spain, and things are a little bit different here in so many ways. But I was thinking I would either work on my dragon scale project or go ahead and start working with the new yarn. I was just curious, like, I can see a couple people have been sitting here for a minute or two. If you guys just wanted to, like, see me start a new project with the new yarn, I would 100% be down. I'm definitely more of a, like, it's going to sound crazy being in the craft community and doing this, but I'm more of a one yarn project at a time kind of person. So it's definitely, oh geez, what is that? Okay, there we go. I was like, I've not done filters before. And oh beans, let me see. Okay, so yes, that is what I've got going. I'm gonna see, like, this is double knit, so I might want to work on the alpaca shawl actually. But yes, I got all these gorgeous yarns. I'm very happy with it. I definitely spent more than I was intending, but you know, honestly, like, there are times in your life like that, and this is one of them for me. And sometimes you just need to have a little bit of a greedy spending decision time. So what I've been working on is, and I've been posting them all over the place, are these, this is the Sultan Deluxe yarn. It's just a little itty bitty boy, because I have been cranking through this project. I actually had COVID for a little bit, and then all sorts of stuff. So it has been a journey to get out and about and to do things like that. So I've been working a lot with the Sultan yarn because that's kind of what I have at home. I finished this a while back, like while I was in Peru. It's not too long ago, but let me like scoot back a bit so you can just see how, like, this thing is massive, and I'm so happy I got to do a project like this. It was a commission. But you can see it's just really, really vibrant colors. I really love how it turns out, and it's super, like, for me, it looks like super big wrapped around my neck, and I love that feeling. And if I throw it over my shoulders, it's incredibly comfy. So I like, and I really love, like, it's cotton, so it's like pretty, to me cotton feels pretty dense, especially with the yarn eater stitch, and so I just love the weight on it. Like, I'm gonna be making one for myself for sure, and so I'm kind of making, that one uses 2 skeins. I'm making one with 1 skein right now, but honestly I'm debating going home and adding a second one because I just love it so much. And then I also made this, and this was also a commission. This is called the Lost Skull Shawl, and I did it in this pastel Sultan by Hobby. I really like how it came out. Like, I'm gonna let it get in a little bit close to, like, see that pattern. That's kind of that's a silly boy, but you can kind of see all of the skulls. It's a bit of a pain because I don't normally do patterns like that. I'm used to almost like double crochet exclusively, like the dragon scale pattern I just showed. That is exclusively dragon scale. But you know, I still think this came out really well. I hope the person really likes it. It was a lot of time, and I still have to weave in the ends and whatnot, you know. But that's definitely a back home when I have my tapestry needles type of thing. So either way, I'm just very happy with how that one came out. And then what other things do I have? Because those have been the main things I've been working on. Oh, I forgot one other thing over there, which I am not exaggerating when I say I have been obsessed with the dragon scale shawls. Like, I think it's just a lot of fun, and it's kind of nice to be working with a yarn eater stitch because I think that not a lot of them are yarn eaters. But, like, look at this color gradient. Like, look at this. And, like, it's just part of the yarn, so I don't have to do it on my own. And to be clear, I'm not a hobby affiliate. Like, the website that this yarn is from, I want to be, but I'm not. Like, I'm not making anything by saying how much I love this yarn. I'm just obsessed. But you can, like, see, like, so how this yarn works is it has 4, like, threads that are, it's like 4-ply, I think is the way to say it. 4 threads together in the yarn, and it does the color changes one at a time. So that way you have, like, these really, really gradual color changes, and it's just amazing to work with because it's also like the little dopamine whenever you do a color change. It happens a lot quicker, and then you're like, oh my gosh, color change. So that's been what's getting me through the last week or so. But, you know, that was my yarn haul. I think it was a lot of fun to even just like the process of going shopping. And so I might just work on my last for right now. Sultan dragon shawl, and then gosh, my dragon scale shawl using that Sultan yarn since I am working with all the yarn I bought for the rest of the time until I get home, which is around um, a little over a week now. Wait, is it a little over a week? Yeah, a little over a week now. But I've been cranking through projects, which I've enjoyed quite a bit. But I may just take this time to kind of just like talk about I don't know, like kind of what it was like being in other countries and especially in the realm of crochet, like how it was, um, I don't know, like figuring out where to shop, figuring out how to support local places instead of, like in Europe, not so much of a thing, but in Peru, like there were a lot of companies that were taking advantage of the tourist market and like selling as if they were local when they were not. Like you could tell it was I don't know if like westernized is the right word to say, but corporation like coming in, buying all the stuff and then reselling it again and like I don't know, because Peru's as west as the U.S., but like like that corporate culture, I guess, of coming in and kind of like what we did with Hawaii. um, but and it's no laughing matter. It's just don't know what else to do. And yeah, so I got to meet a very local, very small scale yarn store, and this yarn store was packed. And I will be putting their information in the description later. And especially like once I edit this video, I'll probably try and include like one of those clickable thumbnails, for their store location, just in case anyone does ever end up going to Peru. The Machu Picchu is right by this city called Cusco, and I won't get super into the history, but even before I went on the trip and got a lot more educated on the matter, I was super into Incan history, which was like the major empire of the area, which is also very important to know. I will go on this tangent. The Incans were very different from the Aztecs. So a lot of like the stereotypes about brutality and things like that, while they do have some prevalence among most Central and South American pre-colonial cultures, like I don't know. I just think the Incans were really really cool with how they did things, and I think that a lot of the issues people have with stereotypes about those cultures are not as commonplace within Incan culture as they would be within other cultures. And so I've always, it's just a silly thing I think is a shortcoming of the U.S. education system, among other things. But anyway, back off that tangent. Um, so in Cusco, the city right near it, or there's multiple cities near it, but Cusco is like, it used to be the former capital of the Incan Empire. So what's cool about that is that I don't know if I'm not sure if anyone knows this, but Incan architecture is incredibly stable. Like we still don't know how they constructed it, but even after colonialism, kind of like happened, Incan architecture was still kept intact by the Spanish because it was so stable and it survived natural disasters better than the Spanish architecture did. So when you go to Cusco, you like there's just Incan architecture there. Like it's just there. And then there's the colonial influence, and then there's the more like globalized world influence. And it's just incredible to see it all together. And it's in this valley in the mountains. And so it's so geographically isolated, there's only so much space. And so when you can't expand like horizontally, like you find ways to better use the space that you have. And I've just found it incredible, like seeing like what the problem solving looks like for people of Cusco. They have their own like social and political issues regarding the matter, and I don't mean to downplay that. But I think that the ingenuity and everything else that comes out of it, out of that situation, is incredibly admirable. Um, but anyway, again, and finishing another tangent, the yarn store there is this mom and daughter combo, and this place was just filled wall to wall with yarn. And it was kind of funny because at one point, like, you know, like it's just them running their shop, and so they had TV in the background, and it's like it is a drama. Okay, so like there is tea going down, and like I'm there with my classmate, like she kept me company, and this girl on the TV is like screaming in loss or in grief and whatnot. And I could understand the context leading up to it, but for my friend, she was just blindsided by the intensity of this. And so we're just trying, like we're just the lady, the employee, the owner of the store is just ringing up our yarn, and we're just sitting there like, because it is like there is drama on this TV show. Like I don't know what it was, but I'm talking like full on wailing while we're checking out to get our yarn. I don't know. I just thought that was really funny, and it just kind of went to show like just, you know, this was just it was just these were just people living their lives, watching their TV shows while they're running their store. I think it's really cool to see that, since I don't really have a lot of that back home. Like maybe it exists within certain places in the US, but within my community, not so much. You know, I just thought that was really cool. And yeah, it was amazing. I'll pull it up again just because I see there's a lot of people joining now. But I got these wonderful alpaca yarns, and like you can just kind of like see, and it's baby alpaca, which is like even softer, and it's just so squishable. And so I got this like cream color, I got this like really nice gray color, and then I got these like this olive and this green. And then for my mom, I think it was these two. I got this really deep like teal, I think is the color. I'm quite tired. And then this purple. And this stuff is like unbelievably squishy. Like I'm living for it. It's incredible. And when you look at the price comparison, like all of those were a little over $5 a skein for 50 grams for pure baby alpaca, like 100%. And another part that's nice is whenever you buy from a Peruvian brand, there's generally a lot less, like a small scale Peruvian brand, there's generally a lot less concern for like mistreatment of the animals and whatnot. I think like we've seen some of the establishments there that do that kind of work. And for me, it's just really nice to not have to really like to the same extent as with other things like question about the well treatment of the animals, especially given it's like, you know, like baby alpaca. You know, so it was really nice to be able to do that, go support like this small neighborhood store, etc. But yeah, no, I just thought that was really cool. I would say in Peru, I bought a lot more alpaca related stuff because I don't know if people know this, but like almost all of the alpaca fiber in the world is actually produced in Peru and then exported to elsewhere. So while I've been in Europe, I bought a lot of wool, which I showed earlier, but I can show again if people are interested, of, you know, like pure wool. And it was really funny to me because I'm looking at the price for like a Peru alpaca plus wool blend, and it's like 4 times the price as like pure alpaca I got while I was there. I don't know. I know it's how like shipping works and stuff like that. Like goodness, I sell enough of my stuff online to where I understand that's how shipping works. But you know, it's just kind of I'm a I'm a miss I'm gonna miss it, honestly. I really enjoyed it. I would like to go back. And um I haven't been posting about it a lot on my channel, I think, but I do a lot of weaving. And right before I left the country, I got this giant floor loom. And I've been waiting literal years to have a floor loom like that. And so now that I finally have one, I want to really like go ham with projects, as you can imagine. And part of that is I am still learning. And in Peru, they had an insane amount. Oh, this is the perfect time to show it. They have such a strong weaving economy because it is traditional labor for a lot of the women there. It's just like how they can make income and support their families and whatnot. And you know, that's in its own way, a massive form of feminism. And so one thing is I was like talking about like local farmers of alpaca and whatnot. They didn't have alpacas, but they had llamas, like llamas. So I've been wearing this one, which is why it's a little bit crinkled. But I'm gonna be taking care of this dude when I get home. La bufanda, the scarf. But like, look at this. Like, this is incredible. And this is all wool. And for a lot of it, like, they hand spun it, hand dyed it, and then used it to weave. And this is a technique called overshot. So you can see it's like, on this side it's that blue there, and on this side it's the white. So it's like fully reversible, I think is the word for it. Like, you can kind of see it from this distance. I think that's really cool. It's one of my favorite techniques. I learned how to do it. It was the last project I did weaving, and it was incredible to work with. And then I've been using this guy, and I think it's really pretty. I plan on using it as a table runner when I bend at Pride Fest in September. I think it's really, I don't know, I just think it's really cute. I really like it. It's very soft, and all of these are full wool. And then for my mom, she's allergic to wool, but this is really nice wool. So maybe it's like something with how wool is processed, normally that makes her react, because this is very nice. And I'm going to like zoom in a bit so y'all can see what the actual pattern is. But you can kind of like see it's the same one, I think, as that blue pattern, that blue scarf I just had. But either way, I think the colors are really fun, and I'm really hoping my mom likes it. And then I have two more. I have this one. I don't know, I just think it was really cute. It's very much my grandma's vibes. I think I'm probably going to give it to her. And it looks like it's just a plain weave pattern, but either way, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, so I know I've been having a lot of fun with it. And then there was this one, which I had been going mad because, again, it's overshot. So, which is that reversible, so you can like see, and then you can see like it has that thicker blue, the thinner blue, and I think that's just going to be a lot of fun when we're thinking of like, not really much of an outfit person, but like thinking about how you would want to wear and present this kind of work. I just think that having that reversibility as a feature of it is a lot of fun to work with and to see and to be able to emphasize. And I just think it's really cool that that's such a central part of the technique. And honestly, I'm really stoked that I could recognize the technique while I'm seeing it in like a finished project. It's not like it was labeled. Like, these were just, where I got these was just at this tiny stall type thing at a local community center where the women would weave and sell their goods. And that's where I got these. And so these were just people, like, they just had their big pile of stuff, and I'll be posting a compilation of all the little clips I took at that store. Like, store is generous, kind of. I don't know. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean it as they, like, it's just their community center. They just happen to be selling things out of it, right? So it's not like it was really meant to be like, oh, we have the shelf stocked. Like, they had to go grab their personal wallets to be able to do the transactions and give change. And it was just really, I don't know. I just thought it was really cool to be able to buy, like, it is so hard to buy that level of local, and I was able to. I just thought that was really cool. So that is my weaving haul from Peru, on top of the yarn haul, and that I'm very happy with what I got in Peru. I'm very happy with what I got here. I only went to that yarn store here in Oviedo in Spain about yesterday is when I went finally. I've been wanting to go for a while, but I had, when I first got here, within a few days, or like even before I got here, I didn't know. I had COVID actually, and so that sucked, and I was on my butt, and obviously I did not want to be going out any more than I had to. And then within a few days of getting better from COVID, I had, I don't mean to exaggerate, but some like tragedy strike in my personal life. And so that kind of took my mental energy. But from there, I was like, okay, I do want to be able to get some yarn while I'm here. I'm really excited. And so I did. And I'm really excited to work with this Ito yarn. But I think that's definitely something I want to like wait till I'm home to work with. So what I think I'm gonna do is I think that while I'm out and about, I'm gonna demolish these like cloud yarns. Like I love the puff. I'm really excited about the idea of working with it. Um, so that's kind of just what I'm planning on doing while I'm traveling. But yeah, a really cool part about that local yarn store in Peru is um, I talked with the owner and I have her contact information on WhatsApp, and I asked if she would be willing to ship it to me down the road if I, like paid for shipping and whatnot, obviously, because it's incredibly expensive to ship internationally. But if it means that I could support a local store, and then also like when you buy alpaca here, it includes those prices. One thing I was thinking about doing was trying to see if I could talk to my local yarn store back in my hometown and see if they wanted to work with this yarn store, and then I could buy the yarn from them. Because that way I wouldn't have to like eat the shipping costs as much directly, and then that way I could support both places. Because I'd rather have the markup go to them than to like DHL or whatnot, especially if they're like ordering in bulk and get that discount. So I just thought that was a really cool option, I guess. Um, yeah, no, I just really like the idea of being able to, like support her. She was incredibly kind. And one thing that I can understand but still sucks to have happen to you is when you're like very obviously a US citizen or US person going abroad, like, or just a tourist in general. Um, they like always charge you more than they would the locals. She didn't. She was just like, yep, those are the prices. Like, and I watched someone in front of me buy the same thing I bought for the same price. So it was just, it was nice because I just wanted to buy from her and support her, and I didn't really feel taken advantage of, and it was really nice to feel that way, and in a place where like I was really trying to find local people to support, and it would always kind of like suck a little bit when I'm trying to do that, and then if they try and change the price, it's like a lot of the local places don't really engage in that, and then it's indicative that maybe it is someone just trying to like, I don't know. It was very common to see people exploit, you know, Peruvians, like locals to the area for stuff, and then to price gouge tourists because they knew they could afford it, which like I do get it. And I also don't have some like high and mighty, wow, I'm a tourist. I gotta be treated just like no, a lot of the issues here are a direct result, or like here being a lot of the issues in Peru are a direct result of the actions of people, and so I don't really blame them. But again, it was just kind of nice to not have to have any doubts about that or to worry about it. It was just a nice feeling. Um, and so I was really grateful for that. It really made my day. And so how I picked this place is because like I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit because that was really a bit of a struggle to do, because on Google Maps, like a lot of stuff, like in countries like Peru, it's not going to be fully updated. Like, don't expect it to be fully accurate, and like you will see yarn shops just walking around. but I was looking for a place that was more like established, so that's why I was like looking at Google Maps. Um, and so I saw this place. It's called Toro Lana, so like everything wolves in Cusco, Peru. And yeah, so I was looking through the reviews, and like the second I saw it was like a mom and daughter operation where they just run a yarn store together. Which, first of all, dreams like that is a true, like that would be a dream for me. Um, but yeah, so I saw that, and it was just talking about like they were so nice and they helped me find the crochet hook, and I just got in there and the vibes were immaculate. Like they were, and I had messaged her ahead of time to be like, hey, are you guys gonna be open? Like it's like 30 minutes from my hotel. I just wanted to like make sure because like sometimes Google Maps isn't updated. I saw they had a number. I saw that they were on WhatsApp. I was like, perfect. So I reached out and they were like, oh, did you message earlier? And this like whole interaction was in Spanish. So I'm hoping I can do it justice because there was a lot of sayings and whatnot. And she was like, yeah, so you messaged earlier. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, awesome. It was getting late. And I wanted to make sure you weren't lost. I was going to check in or something. Because we had taken an Uber there and the address on Google Maps, it turns out, was a little bit weird. It was a little bit off. So we had to do a little bit of exploring to find it, which luckily my joints were doing okay that day, which is why I could do it. I have joint problems actually if yours done with syndrome. So yeah, with that comes some joint problems. I'll probably talk about what EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is another day. I just think it's something that needs more awareness, and it affects me, and I can talk on it pretty well. But anyway, sometimes I just have to be careful about how far I can walk. And luckily, this was not one of those days because I was really excited to be going this specific day because it was the only day we had free time while we were in Cusco. But she was just already so kind and welcoming when I just got there. And I think it was also just I don't think it was just, oh wow, someone who's probably gonna spend a lot. Like I'm sure that was part of it, obviously. She's a business owner. This is her livelihood. But I think a lot of it was also just this idea of I think she was just genuinely a very warm person, and like this was just her serving her community, doing her this kind of thing with her yarn store. Because again, like weaving, tejer is the verb for like all of it, like weaving, crochet, knitting. It's how a lot of women are able to support themselves in Peru. It's like a huge part of independence. And so it also means that, like, since it's a traditional gender rolled community, there's not really room for stuff outside of those. Like the binary system, it's like this gives a gathering point for the female part of that society, like the women that are normally not given the same opportunities as men. And I just thought that was a really cool part to have with the whole thing. Um, but she gave me all sorts of advice. She offered to go grab stuff from the back for me when it was clear that I was kind of like looking for a little bit more. She was super kind and awesome about the whole thing. And I still got to write the review for it, but I will be putting the name of the store in the description for this later because if anyone does travel to Peru, again, Cusco is the major city of the Incan Empire, and it's like where people fly into before they go to Machu Picchu. So it's definitely worth a stop if any of you guys do ever go there. Um, I just wanted to mention that because gotta plug my girl after how awesome that interaction was. But yeah, so I found it online on Google Maps, but then I was just kind of like, I would say the most important thing is to read through the reviews. Like if it's as long as it's above like 3 star, depending on what the reviews say, it could very well be fine. But like this lady, like for her it wasn't even a thing. Like she just had a 4.8, and it was very clearly the most like local mom and pop shop deal type thing of all of the options that I saw. Um, Oh, hi. Okay, hi, Crafty Cat. I did not actually see that. Are you still here? Because I'd be happy to like talk about that if that's something you wanted to talk about. I just completely missed that. I'm still getting used to streaming on my phone. I think this is actually like my first major stream I've done on my phone. Um, yeah. So I mean, I guess I'll talk on that a bit. That's totally my bad. I'm so sorry I missed that. But So I would say, like, in terms of top tips and tricks for crochet, is it would probably just be like have patience with yourself. Like a lot of the time you're gonna be, trying stuff, or like I was never this person because I knew I would get too bored. But starting off with granny squares, like you're gonna run out of patience for learning how to do granny squares and making so many for a project, and it just really wears on your patience. But if you pick a first project you like, it does help you do that. Like, stick it through. Because once you get that first project done, I think is like when people get hooked on crochet. Um, well, I figure since you already crochet, that's something you're familiar with. But the other part of it is to just, like, the other part of patience really is whenever you try a new pattern. Like, a lot of the time, like, people do this partially with market prep and stuff in mind. Like, there are a lot of small businesses for this. So part of that is that you'll see like videos or patterns for like no so quick projects. Like, it's gonna take a hot minute for you to be able to do a pattern for the first time, like compared to doing it normally. And that is completely normal. Like for me, a lot of the patterns that are like 20-minute patterns are like now they take me like half an hour. Like they used to take me hours the first time, and then it like got cut in half or like three quarters, and then go from there, and it takes less and less time. But it does take time to get to that point. And so whenever you're crocheting, it's very easy to feel discouraged because maybe other people are quicker, or maybe other people who have it come out looking better, but it really does come out to like practice makes perfect, and like expect that the first few times you make any new project, he's gonna have seen some stuff, okay? Like I don't have Chubb with me, but what Chubb is this little marshmallow cat, like one of the loaf cat type things. I made it from a palette pattern by Ellen Dippity, No So Cat. It was my first amigurumi, and Chubb looks like he has seen some things. He has had some experiences. He has had a lot of experiences for how short of a time he's been in existence. And we love him anyway. But yeah, no, Chubb has seen some stuff, and I was discouraged by that. And then I was like, now I have Chubb on my main lanyard with pride, and he protects my keys from falling between the car seats, like falling in the gap between the car seats. Critical role. Honestly, has saved my noodle arms from getting stuck in the car seat gap so many times. Like, we love Chubb, the little crochet loaf cat on my lanyard. We love him. I don't have him with me, but like, and I made the lanyard. Like, one thing that's really nice is yeah, we have the little, I have the keys for my host family. I put one of them on it. But I do weaving, so like I made this little keychain. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I have a bunch more I'm gonna be putting into keychain type stuff, like processing into it is what I say. But I have my little lanyard that's a different pattern than this, and it's a lot thicker. But then I have just like Chubb hanging on it, and Chubb protects my keys from falling into the abyss. We love Chubb. And yeah, I'm gonna drink some water because I've been basically, or tea, because I've been drinking basically not drinking, talking basically nonstop for like almost an hour now. Which honestly isn't too different from normal, considering I just apparently can never shut up. But apparently it works out, and I guess it works out a lot for things like streaming. I guess I'm just a very social person, and I guess I just love the sound of my own voice. But I guess I just really, for me, it's about being able to tell the stories. But yes, with crochet tips, like in terms of top tips, like it's having patience. It's gonna be rough the first few times you try a pattern. It's gonna take longer than you expect. And that also applies if you're just getting into crochet in general. It's like patience and don't be hard on yourself are the main parts of it. And then the other things that I think are important to say is that know that there's a community. Like, know that there's plenty of people you can ask for help. Like, so I am on, like, I'm streaming right now, and like you asked for tips, so I'm trying to give you tips, right? But if there was a thing of if someone came into my stream or most other streams or like crochet Facebook groups or pretty much anything to do with the community, like I can promise you that if you were like, hey, I'm really stuck on this one thing, can someone help me? Like, I've been in this situation where we've helped like a complete stranger who just was having this one issue that I promise you at least half of us had while we were starting, and all of us know people who did. um, it's very common to have a lot of those beginners issues, and so a lot of what I would say is to just know that there is a crochet community and craft community in general, and just know that like there's people you can ask for help if you're having a hard time. Like, it's not like you need to figure this out alone. Just because like someone else learned from YouTube doesn't mean they learned without issue. Like, I learned from YouTube, and I was lucky to not have issues, like significant issues, very early on. But like, that's not the case for everybody. Like, I did knitting before I did crochet, and like, people may not be familiar with knitting if you exclusively crochet, but I like to call it anxiety. Like, it's just anxiety, because with crochet, like, oh no, I dropped the stitch, you just pull it and then you just stick it in the next, like the last stitch a couple stitches back, and oh no, it fell through another one, and it's like, oh, that sucks. But like, you just stick that bad boy in and then you're good to go, right? No, with like knitting, like, honestly, you just need to give up and cry. It's exaggerating, but whenever you drop a stitch, like, it's a thing of like, you need to go back and fix it. And that can be really rough to deal with when you're not really expecting it, to just like have to go back and fix a mistake in knitting. So with crochet, I guess that's my third, fourth tip, is to just know that it's okay to make mistakes. Like, three would be, like, know there's a community to help you, but four would be know that you're gonna make mistakes. It's gonna be part of it, and it's fine. Like, it took me, like, this shawl is like, I'm really proud with how this guy's turning out. But I promise you, like, my first one did not turn out this way. And it took a lot of time, and it's like, I've made several of them now. Like, this is probably, I've used well over 3 kilometers, like over a mile of yarn on this specific pattern already. So it's kind of like, like, it's like practice is kind of what gets you where you need to be. And everybody says that, but I like, and everybody says that kind of like it's just like a saying, or like, it's just what you say in these situations. But for me, it is definitely, it's something I stand by. Like, it truly is something I simply stand by. And I think that it is definitely important to kind of know that people say that and they mean it, and not just that, I'm saying it because everybody told me that when I was first starting to crochet. Like, you're going to make mistakes, and that is okay. And then one day you're going to be helping other people fix their mistakes, and that is such like a transformational moment. And I'm not even joking. Like, that made me so happy when I got there. Sorry, I just had to take my afternoon nap real quick. But that's a big part of it. And then I guess my fifth one would be, you don't always need to, like, a lot of people get into crochet and then they like start to really enjoy it, and then they're like, small business. And small business, girl boss. Like, not, I think girl bossing as a, like, I think it's just a fun saying, but there's a whole culture with it. But small businessing, great. But also, like, not everything you need to do related to crochet needs to turn a profit. Like, right now, I'm streaming. I'm not an affiliate for any company. I'm not profiting off the stream at all. Do I have an end goal of being monetized? Possibly one day. Yeah, that would be great. Because one thing I would love to do is, I plan on doing it even if I'm not monetized for streaming. But I stayed in the Ronald McDonald House for a month my freshman year while I had to do a really difficult program 2 hours away from my home. Oh, so you are pretty new to it. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to finish this real quick, and then Like, feel free to write any other questions or like things you have, because I hope those tips were helpful, but I also know that sometimes there's like more specific things people are wanting to know. But yeah, no, I stayed in the Ronald McDonald House for a month. People were amazing, and one lady, actually, this is before I started crocheting. She gifted me a blanket that she had. It was like fleece from the like Joann's, and then she had crocheted a border around it, and it really. Her name was Kim. Thank you, Kim. I still have it, and I still sleep with it. Um, and I would love to be able to have like whenever my goal is to go to med school, and I'd love to be able to spend my breaks from med school crocheting and like streaming and just socializing, helping people figure out crochet mistakes, just having a space for people to crochet and chill and talk and everything else. And to, like just everything I make to just be able to donate it. And like right now, I can't really afford to do that. And if I'm med school, I sure won't. So like my goal would be at that point either fundraise or be monetized enough to, afford the materials. But my long-term goal is 100% to be able to donate everything I do with crochet, or at least a significant portion of it, depending on what kind of career I get into. Because, the small business life isn't always sustainable whenever you get into certain career fields. And, I also, I just love to be able to have something that I love to do have that kind of impact. But yeah, Crafty Cat. Yeah, did you have any like other questions or anything else I could really help with? Because I'll be honest though, like I've only been crocheting for around like maybe 2 years, which you're like a little over 10% of the way there, but I promise I did not expand into stuff very much at all until I was around a year in. And so like don't at all, like people will talk about having done it for years, etc., etc. But I would say the biggest learning curve. Okay, yeah. So when you're doing amigurumi and you get that cone shape in the head, so like whenever you're trying to do like a circle and have it lay flat, right? Because if that's what you're talking about, what normally happens is because you're it can be because you're using too small of a hook or maybe too tight of tension. There's a lot of reasons for it, but for me, what fixed it was having a slightly smaller tension and to just be very careful, like counting your stitches. And it's very common. It takes time to get rid of that. It just comes with like learning how to manage tension. And then I also want to make sure to point out that it gets better whenever it's a finished project. Like it will be there a little bit, like, but while you're making it, it seems so painfully obvious. But I promise you, once you get that bad boy stuffed at the end, like he's gonna look fire. Like you got this. So, yeah, that is definitely an issue I had at the very beginning too, though. So like, don't feel like, don't feel weird about that. But that being said, like so many people have that issue. Um, like tension is the main thing I would say. But if you do have any like crochet channels or anything else like that, or if you can learn pretty well from videos, then I would just see if people have some tips or tricks for like whenever you're first starting amigurumi. Like I don't have anything like that yet, but I'm hoping to get there. But for right now, it's like that's about it. Is tension, I would guess, is my main recommendation, to just kind of practice with tension a little bit. And again, know that like I'm sure you've been doing a handful of amigurumi or something like that at this point, having done this for 3 months. I'm sure you've been doing amigurumi, but just because it seems like that's kind of your interest point. But it will take some time for this to just not be as much of an issue for you anymore. And that's fine, but just it's an annoyance but don't expect it to just like disappear instantaneously. Again, it takes time, and there might be projects where it just comes back if you're just like, people don't talk about it enough. This is like another tip for crochet I have. Is like when you're in a bad headspace, like your skill will regress a little bit. And that's okay. But just know that it will happen a little bit. And so if you're crocheting while something very difficult is going on in your life, that's probably a good thing. But just know that, like, maybe you will have issues with tension you didn't in the past, and that's okay. And there's all sorts of things you can do after a project, like blocking and other techniques that you'll learn as you go along that can really help, like make it less noticeable or sometimes correct the problem entirely. And I just think it's important to like acknowledge that those kinds of things are an option. But yeah, with amigurumi, I would just say again, it's like a tension issue a lot of the time. And certain crochet hooks are like more prone to having tension issues than other ones. Like what I'm using is the Clover brand ones. Like, yeah, I know you can't really see it, but they're Clover brand. They're my favorite. You can get them on Amazon or with Joann's with the 60% off. And they're just my favorite to work with. It's very smooth, so it's very easy to not like have it get over tight without realizing it, And I would say a large part of my improvement with tension was because I found crochet hook brands that work with me, like Clover and some other ones. And so I think that like that's an understated part about why people have issues with tension and sometimes other people don't. That being said, my host family is probably going to get home soon. I probably have half an hour, so I will probably hop off the stream here in a handful of minutes. But I wanted to say, like, if you or if anyone else had any questions, I'd be happy to like talk on them a bit more before I hop off. Or even if just that answered your question, like, feel free to let me know just so I know, because I'm trying to get better at explaining things. So, yep, I will probably call it here in a few, but okay, yeah, no, I'm very glad I was able to be helpful then. So I don't know what time zone you're in. I'm guessing like in the mainland USA, but feel free to like drop a subscription or something else, because especially in like early August, I plan, whenever I get home to the States, I plan on effectively like, I don't want to say like streaming full time, but streaming as much as I can while like I get my weaving setup done, while I work on some commissions that I took to help like help cover some costs that have come up, stuff like that. So you're like more than welcome to hop into any of those. I have like my other socials linked. Like you're welcome to shoot me a message or something too if you ever just need help. So, or comment on videos or anything else. Like I'm chronically online, so I'd be more than happy to just kind of like, answer that as soon as I can. But if that's it, I will probably hop off now. But it was lovely to meet you, Crafty Cat. And yeah, no, I do genuinely hope I see you again. So feel free to drop into any of my other streams and whatnot, okay? But you have a good one, all right?